Welcome back to the Global Business Report on Arise News. Real estate firms are not immune from cyber attacks. Globally in 2021, 63% of firms in the construction and real estate sector were hit by ransomware attacks. This was disclosed by North Court Real Estate in their 2022 half-year report, citing data from Sophos Group PLC, a British-based security software and hardware company. Joining us to discuss further, Ayo Ibaru, Chief Operating Officer, Director, Research, North Court Real Estate. Ayo, good morning to you. It's always good to see you again. It's been a while. I wanted to ask you, 63% of, I think we have a chart from your report here. Yeah. I was a bit taken aback. I don't know. Am I ignorant to assume that real estate firms are not left out of cyber attacks?
Oh no, you're accurate when you say real estate services firms and construction firms are attacked by cyber attack. The reason being that the amount of money we deal with, the transaction value, the costs and the pricing, all that on a daily basis is significant. And so it does provide some form of interest for those who are interested in harvesting this kind of data and then, of course, selling it on the black market. Now, there are a couple of things that also come to mind. First of all, when you look at how businesses work, it does occur to us that estate services firms and construction firms have to protect their data, because if they don't, it does expose their client base. It does expose even the clients who they work with. And I think especially in Nigeria today, what you find is we're increasingly having the opportunity to deal with international partners.
Right.
And what that means is you are part of a group of maybe 10, 15 firms. And if it is known that you don't have enough security, there's a problem.
Yeah.
All right? Because once you are exposed, the rest of us are exposed. And so it is an ongoing challenge, but I think we are rising up to it.
Now, when you say we, you're talking about Nigerian firms. I wanted to
Nigerian
ask you, how well protected are they of Nigerian firms in the real estate from cyber attacks?
I mean, I was in another debate around this, in the morning before coming here. Yeah. And what we concluded on was this. While we are protected, it's not comprehensive enough. You see, because the way cyber attacks work, they are always upgrading. There's always something new every 3 months, every 2 months, every 6 months. And so I think we would do well to also upgrade the kinds of protection that we have. Yeah. That's really where it is.
Okay, so what about the awareness campaign around it? How effective is that in your view?
I mean, in my view, the awareness is there, but it can be significantly higher. Okay. Now, what you find is quite a number of firms are fully aware. They've gone ahead to sign international partnerships with firms that provide protection, training, certification, and then, just check-ins periodically. But what you find is there are a number of firms that either don't take it seriously enough or aren't willing to make the investment as of yet.
Gotcha. Can you tell us how technology for the real estate sector, how it streamlines things, makes adds to profits, improves operations for your sector?
I mean, again, it's a good question you ask. So what you find is technology has been part of Nigeria's real estate market for quite a while. Okay. But what you find now is we're beginning to see certain tools coming to the market, and a few things are now the consequence of that. Number one, you find that collaboration is a lot easier. To put together the reports which we have made free to the public, we had to use a lot of technology, working with our partners both within and out of the country. Again, no-brainer, transaction times and costs have reduced.
Okay.
But one thing you want to remember is, as an industry, the rates of growth are further improved because mistakes and lessons learned by company A is easily transferable to company B because of the amount of technology involved. We can now share, we can collaborate. And what you find now is even prop tech firms are even more emboldened, not only raise money internationally, but they're able to bring this technology and then to make the entire service value chain easier and more convenient. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so you mentioned the report that tech was involved in putting it together. This mobility trend chart, it looks like, and let's pull up the chart now. It looks like you've got more, is it, footfall or however you call it, towards the office building. Yeah, so the red, let's say, okay, the red line is the office blocks, and then in black, I think is grocery and pharmacy. So what's the chart telling us essentially?
I mean, in a nutshell, Nigerians are spending more time out of their homes.
Okay.
All right, whether we are shopping, whether we are going to retail stores where you measure footfall, number of steps per hour, whether it's even spending time in leisure, Nigerians are spending more time outdoors. Now, for office, it's a bit staggered. Okay. Now, for knowledge workers, hybrid work has come to stay. So in most organizations, you spend a few days in the office and then you work from home. Now, in some other organizations, where you have to come to the office and spend 5 days a week, the number of hours you spend has reduced. So on aggregate, you find that for office, people are spending less time at actual office buildings.
Does the chart tell us anything about the real estate sector's recovery from the pandemic?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yes. I mean, what it tells us in summary is the real estate market has improved from the days of the pandemic. Now, of course, some sub-markets have improved faster than others. And some weren't really affected by the pandemic. Take, for example, land transactions. A few still went on during the pandemic. But what you find is retail has recovered, residential has recovered. You find more development activity now. Even industrial is growing in leaps and bounds because of international interest. Again, healthcare, of course, spurred by what happened during the pandemic, has continued to grow. It's just office that is taking it one step at a time. But for other sub-markets, we see growth, and that is the projection as we head into the rest of the year.
Sounds healthy. There's another chart we just put up. Let's put that back up. Construction and real estate contributions to GDP. So I think that's constructions in gray, real estate contribution to GDP in red. So it does look like it's encouraging, yes?
Yes.
Yeah? So I guess as far as the trend going forward, do you think that this is what we're seeing in these charts, those lines continue to stay where they are, or continue to inch upwards?
I mean, the indications are we are reaching some kind of stabilization. We were in negative growth for quite a number of quarters until around 2020 when we got out. And what you find are a couple of things. Number one, in the real estate services space, you find that the demand for services have gone up. Take, for example, with how oil prices have moved and diesel prices and people living in gated communities and things like that. You find that the need for solid facility management services has gone up, all right, which is what we have noticed, and then also for property management services. So you find that the need for real estate services, whether it's advisory, things along that line, have gone up because people are beginning to recognize the importance of these things. Again, in construction, what you find and what the data does suggest is construction contractors are beginning to specialize. Well, not beginning, they are spending more time on areas that they have more competence. So you find construction contractors doing good work, quick work in residential, and that's what they do.
Gotcha.
Some do retail, others just stay with infrastructure. And so all of that, this timely attention to what you know how to do is also improving the contribution.
So staying in your lane.
It's a big lane, but
okay, we've got a couple minutes. I want to get to this chart here where you talk about housing issues affecting Ekiti State. I mean, you looked at some states here. Is this, and it says lack of government intervention. Can we extrapolate this to the rest of the country, or is this unique to Ekiti?
So, I was preparing for this and I told my friends that it would be impossible to have this with Rotos and he wouldn't bring up something from the government. So I'm ready for you.
Good.
Now,
good. Okay.
What I would say is housing affordability in Nigeria ticks a few boxes. Land is expensive. There are regulatory loopholes you have to go through. In Lagos, sometimes you have as many as 26, 27 agencies coming to ask different questions. Some valid, some were not so sure. But what you find is the challenges are still there. But in strong economies, the individual and a few corporates have the capacity to withstand that. Now, in Ekiti, we found out that it wasn't exactly the case because, it's a strong state government. They're doing a lot to grow, but you find that the incomes of the civil servants who were the subject of this study haven't gotten to the point where they can easily and conveniently, afford homes. Now, I do know that they are doing a lot of work to bring in investments, but the data hasn't caught up to what they're doing yet.
What's your outlook for the sector?
It's positive. I do think that quite a number of the sub-markets will grow, maybe barring a few that will just grow slowly. Land will grow. I expect retail and residential hospitality will surprise quite a few people. I mean, there's the concept we outlined in the report called revenge travel, which is that, you were angry that you couldn't travel.
So you're going to definitely
so you're spending the money. So yeah,
somewhere.
that's really how it's looking.
Revenge travel.
Revenge travel.
All right, that's a theme to look out for.
Yeah.
Ayo Ibaru, Chief Operating Officer, Director of Research at Northcote Real Estate. Always a pleasure having you talk of real estate with us. Thank you.
Anytime.